Welcome everybody to my new YouTube channel. As you may already have guessed correctly, I just started this whole thing, this whole storytelling YouTube thing, right this second actually, and I would like to give you a quick overview on what I'm about to do. So for the longest time, I thought to myself I experienced so much ridiculous shit over the last years, and to be honest, I really don't want to forget about them because they're part of my life, and I would really like to share them with you. And yeah, so today I got up, I made myself a coffee. It was a pretty nice day, and I decided, fuck it, let's do it. So I was like, I don't like to work without any goals to achieve or without any targets. So I was like, I need a goal, I need a target because I can't upload story videos on and on. So I went to this website, actually a pretty crazy website. It's called xmasclock.com, and I found out that it's only 73 days till Christmas. So I was like, okay, let's make it 73 videos then. So yeah, let's get right into this. Okay, so yeah, my first story involves myself, and it happened almost 3 years ago, in Togo, in Western Africa. Togo is a small state, a small country in Western Africa. For those you who don't know, and I went there with a bunch of my friends to set up a water treatment plant, because we've set up like a humanity um, aid project where we will build a water treatment plant for a school in Togo. So we raised some funds and went there to set everything up. And um, when we got there, we had a lot of work to do. But the time we flew there was in December. So a few days before Christmas, we had to stop the working because all the workers we hired there wanted to go to their families, see their families. Also, all the students that helped us wanted to go home. So we took our I think 3 or 4 days off, and went on a field trip. And I think we started our trip on the December the 23rd, I think, and we went to Ghana, to go to a national park. It was really a great time. We saw so many nice people. We saw so many of great cultural things. It was overall amazing. And on Christmas, on the 24th of December, we headed up north, through a national park, and we had a driver. He was driving the jeep we rented, because it was actually cheaper to rent the car with driver than without, because they knew that we had no experience whatsoever in driving on African streets and routes. So it was cheaper to get it with the driver. And on this particular day, we made our way from Kumasi, which is a quite a big city in the center of Ghana. There's actually a really nice market. You should definitely check it out if you go there. All the way up to the Mole. I hope I pronounce it right. Mole National Park, and it's quite a long trip. I mean, I think it's about 300 or 400 kilometers, which is like a lot in Africa because there is um, no streets, and it's terrible. Whatever. So we made our way up there, and 30 or 40 kilometers before we arrived at our goal, the streets got horrible. They were like made out of pure mud and nothing else, which made driving really, really difficult. So the second we left the street and went into the jungle to make our last 40 or 50 kilometers, it was already dark outside. It was like 7 p.m. in the evening, and we were starving. It was Christmas. Every one of us, all we wanted to do was go to our bed, or even better, all we wanted to do was get home to our families, to our friends, to our girlfriends, And it was simply horrible, especially because 20 kilometers into the jungle, the driver told us that we ran out of fuel pretty soon. And it was in a mosh pit. The car was humping up and down because of the bad street situation. We were low on fuel. It was simply horrible. With like 100 milliliters of fuel left in our car, we finally arrived in our town where we wanted to have a hotel, and everybody was outside, and that was really nice to me because it was like 10 p.m. or I don't know, actually maybe almost midnight. Everybody was outside. They shooted some fireworks. All the kids were playing outside. They were celebrating Christmas, because Ghana is a Christian country, so they celebrate Christmas. But to be honest, I'm not sure if they celebrated on the 24th or the 25th. Anyways, they were celebrating. It was really nice to see. They also had like bonfires and shit going on. It was amazing. And yeah, we were lucky because they were about to close the hotel, for obvious reasons. But we got our room, and my girlfriend and the others, they brought some Christmas cookies and stuff. So we made like a little Christmas dinner on the floor in our shacks that we rented, which were supposed to be our hotel. Anyways, it was fine. African standards. Um, but we sat down on the floor. We had some cookies. It was amazing. We just enjoyed the time that we had together, and maybe like we also had some wine too. But this did not affect the rest of my story. Believe me. So and yeah, like at 1 o'clock in the morning, everyone went to bed, and because for reason one, it was very cheap, and on the other side, we had a lot of stuff with us. We all had separated shacks, so I went to my shack, and mine was the only one that was. I have to explain that. All the shacks were like circled around in a circle. Okay, they were in a circle, and there was like a little wall behind the shacks, and mine was the only one like outside this gated area, like right where the entrance was. But that was no problem to me. So I went outside there, had a quick shower. There were a few spiders in my shower. I hate spiders. Horrible. Anyways. And after that, I went to bed. And I thought about everything and that I'm spending Christmas in Africa and everything. And I suddenly hear some noises over me. And I look around in the room, but there was nothing, obviously, because it was quite bright in the room. And then I heard something running like over me, like really fast. And I thought to myself, like maybe there is something in the ceiling. And I was quite sure there was. It sounded like something is hunting something else down. I was quite terrified, but it was fine. But a few minutes after that, I heard scratching noises on the door. And I thought to myself again, hey, calm down. You don't want to die on Christmas Eve, not in Africa. That's a bad way to go. So I stood up, went to the door, and the door was not didn't fit quite into the hole in the wall, so I could look like through this little gap, and I saw a fucking hyena scratching on my door outside. I started to scream to like make it run away, but it didn't help. And the door was designed that way that you can only open it to the inside. So I took all things I had, put it in front of the door. I was searching for my cell phone. Of course, it ran out of battery. There was no one there to help me, and of course, there was no electricity in this room. The only light I had was the light coming from outside into this little shack. I was trapped in there, and the only thing I thought to myself is, maybe I'll survive that, but nobody's going to believe me on the day afterwards. The hyena didn't run away for a good hour, maybe even more. I was trapped inside there. I was scared, and I thought to myself, No, you are not going to die on Christmas Eve. It was a horrible experience. But on the next morning, right before the breakfast, I tried to tell everyone. Guess what happened? Nobody believed me. Yeah, and that's the story on how I almost got eaten by a hyena in Africa on Christmas. And I really have to tell at this point of the story, this is not made up. This happened to me actually 2 years ago. To my opinion, that's stuff for a Hollywood blockbuster. Or kind of. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my story. Yeah, subscribe if you liked it. Hit the like button and stay tuned for more content. I try to upload every day. Peace.